Join us on Ask the Oracle podcast with Suzy Cherub as we embark on a soul-enriching journey with the beautiful Denise Jarvie. A renowned soul coach and mentor, Denise transforms lives with her heart-centered wisdom and will delve into the transformative power of shadow work, the pillars of awakening, reflection, and manifestation, and how they relate our vibrational experience. So our topic today is the secret language of darkness to embrace wholeness, unveiling the soul's journey with Denise Jarvie. Denise will also introduce her new oracle, the secret language of darkness, and share how embracing our shadow can revolutionise our spiritual practice. This deck shines a light on our deepest shadows, guiding us towards wholeness and healing. So tune in for a session filled with profound wisdom and light-hearted guidance straight from Sydney's spiritual heartland. Hi, Denise. I'm over the moon for this. How are you, my love?
I'm so wonderful, Suzy. I feel so privileged to be here in your beautiful space. So thank you so much for having me.
You're very, very welcome. First, congratulations. I absolutely adore your new oracle deck, The Secret Language of Darkness. It has so much depth, vulnerability, and transformational power. The mastery classes are so empowering and harmonizing at the same time. And I love the inspired insights, reflections, and actions. So my first question to you is, when you were writing this incredible book, and it really is a book, it's actually quite a thick, gorgeous book, you were going through your own darkness, your own grief, and your own healing. Is that right?
Yes, I certainly was. I've written in the acknowledgements that what occurred as I was writing the deck, which probably took about 2 years. It took a lot longer than I imagined, but that's okay. So in the middle of it all, my mother passed away. She had been sick for a long time, but it's still a shock, and she was in her late
Yes.
80s. And nothing can really prepare you. My father had passed away a good 10 years before that. Uh, but nothing can really prepare you, I think, for the losing of your mum. In saying that, mum and I had a difficult relationship, as a lot of mother daughters
I can relate to
do.
that. Yeah.
Yes, and she always wanted. I won't say used. I was going to say used, but that's not a very nice thing to say. But she always used to say to me that I was a source of comfort for her.
Yes.
And which to me is quite a hard thing to put on a child. But she'd had a difficult time, but I won't go into all of that. But what that did was made me feel responsible for her happiness. So it began a journey of the rescuer, I suppose, which of course moves into the shadow deck, because I did a lot of work as I wrote the shadow deck. And so, yes, mum passed away. And then my cat of 17 years, my first cat, because I was always a dog person before that, she passed away
Yeah.
in the middle of all of that. And then I chose another kitten who I had named Lyra, that connects to some of the star energies that I have within me. And she passed away on the same day as mum.
Oh, did she?
Unfortunately, the
Well, that's
cattery.
devastating. It's like a double whammy, isn't it?
Oh yes, the
Talk about
cattery
a
that.
dark night of the soul right there. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, the cattery unfortunately had parvo, went through it,
Oh,
and the
really?
kittens their injections hadn't given them enough support, so she passed away. But that's okay. That led the way for the cat that I have now, who is Dave. The
I
most
love that he's called
unspiritual,
Dave. What
the
a
most
great
unspiritual
name.
name.
Yeah.
I tried to change it, but yes, he's named uh, for Davos. Actually, he was born in the Game of Thrones litter. That's how they named them. So, and Dave just stuck. So yes, I have Dave now. And then of course my marriage ended as my second after 12 years. And so it was a really interesting time. But of course, all of this was leading up for me to really get to know me and also get me ready for my second Saturn returns. My Saturn's in Pisces. So obviously when Saturn went into Pisces, my second Saturn returns began. And I thought I'd done a lot of work on my first Saturn return.
Yes.
That's when I
It's
first sort of
amazing what we
stepped onto my
sign up for,
spiritual
isn't it?
path. But oh yes, yes. But I'll tell you, this second one, it's like someone's come along and just turned me upside down and shaken me and emptied everything out that
Yeah.
is no longer needed in my life. And it's not that I don't need my mother or my husband or my ex-husband or my cat or anything like that. It is just that it's time for me to really get to know me and to help other people how to navigate through these sometimes difficult and challenging times in our life.
I think it
So,
gives you
yes.
genuine understanding and compassion, and that beautiful self-awareness as well, and that spiritual growth. You know, what feels like that massive, you know, breakdown can actually be the most incredible breakthrough when you do the work, when you do the shadow work. Yeah.
Oh, of course.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Truly wonderful. And I have and this is not to say anything about my poor mum or dad, but I do have a much better relationship with them now. I chat to them most days, and the reason that I say that is because the personality is no longer there. So the layers of beliefs and ideas that they had, which often saw me as being doing the wrong thing by their standards. So all of that has
Yes.
fallen away. So I do have a much better relationship with them now. It's a much more
I
fun
totally relate to that
relationship.
because both
Yes.
my parents are in spirit, and I had a very challenging relationship with both of them, although I loved them very
Mm,
much. But when I
mm,
communicate now with them, it's just completely different because, of course, you're quite
mm.
right. That personality, that ego's lifted, you know, and it's been just really beautiful connecting with them. So I totally understand that. I can really
Mm.
relate to that. I'd like to read you just a
Yes.
couple of little bits from your gorgeous book. I know we call it,
Yes,
you know,
yes.
an oracle
Of course.
guidebook, but to me, it's a book. And when I read this, it really, I got quite teary because it really hit my heart. And at the very front of the book, it's got, "To everything that has been hidden in the shadows, thank you for all you have endured. From this moment on, I choose to know, include, and love you. You are safe. Welcome home, Denise Jarvie." How beautiful is that? And even the way you explained what you were going through when you wrote the book, I mean, that sort of really hit my heart too. You know, while writing this guidebook for this card deck, my heart broke into pieces as I navigated the death of my mother, Amethyst, my cat companion of 17 years, Lyra the kitten, and my marriage. But this is the bit that really got me. I am grateful to have been loved by these beautiful beings, and I hope I brought love, fun, and grace into their lives. That is so beautiful, Denise. I just love that so much. I just got quite teary when I read that, you know. I loved that. So thank you so much for
Mm.
explaining that. I love the shadow
Oh, my
name.
pleasure. That still hits, it still
It still
hits
hits you.
me. It
Still
still
hits
hits me
you.
in the heart. Yeah.
Yes.
And yeah, reminds me of how emotional uh the emotions I went through writing the deck. Yes. So, but yeah,
Yes.
I'm sorry. I interrupted you then.
No, you didn't. Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. Like, and I think, you know, when you get you know, that kind of sense of, you know, it's actually quite beautiful. I think, you know, grief can be painful, but it can also be quite beautiful. because there's beauty in grief, I feel, because it means you loved that deeply. You know,
Mm.
it's so gorgeous. So I love
Yes.
the shadow name you explain in the book as well. And I have read most of the book, not all of it, but I just loved this explanation of this shadow name. And I have to say that I did the Amethyst Cave, beautiful kind of guided meditation, visualization, ritual in your gorgeous book. And I actually came up with Goddess Hecate, Queen of the Crossroads, the beautiful shadow queen. But I know you came up with someone different. So do you want to explain that to our beautiful listeners and how
Well,
that works?
it was very surprising that Core or Persephone turned up for me. Um, well, I suppose that's not too far-fetched because I am a sun sign Scorpio. My life path is a 7 and I was born in the year of the snake. So everything for me is about depth. We dive in, we go below. So
Yes.
for half of the year, I'm below with Hades, which is the story of Persephone. Now, the reason that that card came about, shadow name, is in the secret language of light. Of course, we have the soul name, and so we have the shadow name in this, and then in the manifestation deck, which is coming, there's a manifestation name as well. And the reason that I the concept behind that is to give you a name that you can connect to so you can feel the energy.
Yes.
Because for me, it's like, yes, I have my soul name. I have my which is Astar, my main guide or bunch of guides that help me.
Yes. Yeah.
uh, and I can feel that. Like I can feel
Yes.
the
Yeah.
energy of say Ganesha if he turned up, or Kuan Yin,
Yes.
because of the work I've done, because of the practice. I didn't recognize them to start with, but over time you begin to recognize that energy. So I wanted to give people a way to be able to recognize those aspects of themselves, like their soul name or their shadow
Oh,
name,
I love that
so
so
that
much. Yeah.
it's easier for them to connect with it and work with it and not be fearful of it
It did make it
either.
easier. Um, I was surprised at how quickly she came to me, and I did sense her essence. And I got a very strong visual of her almost dressed in like a black raven feathered cloak or something. It was magnificent. So, such a powerful practice. And I love that you've integrated that into the guidebook.
Mm.
And it's so unique.
Yes.
And it just felt so real to me. So, yay, how
Oh, well,
wonderful.
that's wonderful. And the Amethyst Cave is
Yes,
actually you go into your Amethyst Cave for each meditation, which is slightly
yes,
different to the secret language of light. But what I wanted to do was create a safe space for people to go into, because sometimes shadow work can be a little bit confronting.
yes.
So each meditation begins with the Amethyst Cave that you go into,
I did
and it's
notice
a
that.
safe space. And
Yes,
then
it
from
felt
that,
safe.
yeah, and then from that place, doors will open up, or an elevator will arrive, or something will open up to help that resonates with the card that you're using.
Yes,
And then you go from there. But if you get to the Amethyst Cave and you don't want to go any further on that particular day, that's fine. You don't need to.
oh, I love that
It's,
self-honoring. Yeah,
yeah, it is that. And that's why I did that, because, obviously if I'm working with clients, I can build a safe space around them for them to really
yes,
honor their shadow. But when people are doing it themselves at home, it was like, okay, so how can I make that so that they create a safe space for themselves? So that, and also, as you said, to honor themselves if they've gone far enough that day, if enough has
yes.
come up about something, or you can keep diving in. And like me, I like to dive straight in, head first,
You
which often
do. You do. I have to say that I get on very well with Scorpios. Yeah, I'm surrounded by them. I'm married to one. So I totally get that.
see,
I
that's that
noticed that,
crossroads energy.
yeah, that crossroads energy,
That's
absolutely.
asking you to look at something else. Yes.
Exactly,
Mm.
exactly. So I noticed that we both practice meditation, visualization, beautiful kind of daily kind of practices of self-awareness and journaling and all that really magnificent stuff that I weave into my everyday. But I
Mm.
noticed that you also integrated all of that into the secret language of darkness in a really effective way. So would you like to share with us, your kind of, yeah, why did you do that? And I think it's wonderful, but yeah,
Well,
how
I
did that come
suppose
about?
for me that's the soul coach in me. And
Yes,
that's also me, because, it's never enough just to get a little bit. I have to then dive in a bit more, or pull something apart, or
yes,
or look at it from a different perspective to enable me to distill all of the information.
yeah,
And so when I'm doing my coaching work, that's what I'm helping my clients and students to do as well, is to you be your own oracle, which of course is
yes.
what your work is about as well.
I
Um,
know. We're so in alignment with
especially
that,
the
Denise. Yeah,
yeah, especially your oracle at Delphi oracle set. For
yes.
me, that know thyself,
Oh, yeah,
and we really want to illuminate our own inner oracle and
yes,
to expand that. I mean, that's always been my work, because I felt so disempowered growing up, and was told everything that I said or thought was wrong, and that I had to do it their way, the family's
yes,
way,
yeah,
or
yeah.
the school's way,
Yeah,
or
all
the,
that
you
conditioning
know,
and programming from
yes.
childhood, from community, from school. Yes, I went through that myself. Yes.
Mm.
Yeah.
And of course, for a long time, I did that. It was like,
Yeah.
oh, this is what I have to do
Being the
to,
harmonizer, the peacemaker,
yes, to
Yes.
get it on,
The comforter.
and
Yeah.
yes, yes. So when I'm when I'm designing decks, it's obviously the message is there, and you don't have to go any further than that. But me being me, I just like to give people more information, because that's what I love. I love
Exactly.
when there's deeper information that I can, really get my teeth into. So it's not necessary for people to do that. They can just use the messages. But it's there if you really want to do it. And it's part of the coaching that I
I love
like.
that we
And
weave that
I
in kind of
am,
more empowerment, the empowerment kind of techniques and
yes,
coaching into our decks, because they're not just predictive and prophetic. They're also, you know, yeah, as you said, the gift of free will. You do you do what feels right for you. But
mm,
in saying that, I know that I like to dive deeper and do the work and pull it apart and look at it from different perspectives as well. So I just love that it's not
mm,
just a predictive deck, it's also a very empowering, transformative, deck. It's amazing. So,
yes,
yay. Yeah.
yes. And,
Yeah.
I mean, I could have written it as a book, because as you said, there's a lot of
It is a book.
information there.
I'm just going to say it.
Um, yeah, but for me, I love cards, because, each card, oh, I've got Journey into Darkness. I've just chosen that,
Yeah.
because for me, each card is a doorway into um, an aspect of me. It's a doorway into a whole new way of thinking, or a whole different dimension. So having the card and looking at the image and working with that, for me is very tangible.
Yes.
And I also feel that, because sometimes people buy books and then they read it and then put it on their bookshelf, and then
Yes.
it's forgotten. Whereas with our card decks, it's like message with us. You can take it with you and you can choose it and
Yes.
get the message that you can. And look, you can do that with a book as well. But somehow for me, it seems to work
Oh, I
more.
love the oracle. I
It's
love oracle
easier
cards.
with
Yes.
cards.
They're beautiful
And this all
portals to
started
deeper
because,
meaning. Yeah.
yes, and
Yeah.
this all started really because I had swap cards when I was a kid.
Oh,
And
really?
I was a bit lonely as a child because my parents were always working. I had friends and things, but we used to swap cards and they had beautiful images on them. And we
Yes.
used to buy, I think you used to get 5 or 6 and some bubble gum as well. They were like
Yeah.
5 cents. So I'm showing you my age now because that was right back in probably the early 70s. But
I think we're a similar age. I might be older than you.
oh, I don't know. Well,
Yeah.
how old are you?
I was born in 65. So I've got my
So was
60th
I.
in March next year. So, oh,
Yeah,
were you? There you go.
mine's in November next year. Are you a
Oh, wow.
Piscean, are you?
I
Yeah.
am, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm born on the 3rd of the 3rd, under a dark moon, under a shadow
Oh,
moon.
dear.
Can you believe it? So no wonder I love your deck so much,
Yeah, wow. Well, I was born
that
on the
potential.
11th of the 11th. Yeah.
Oh, were you? Oh, wow. Isn't that amazing? I
Sorry, I
know. I
lost you
love
there
the
for a moment.
oracle. I love
Mm.
the artwork on this deck. And I just love that each card, it can be day by day, step by step. You don't have to read the whole thing. You can just pull a card a day, and each card is that beautiful portal to much deeper meaning and messages. And you can
Mm.
pull the same card on different days and get a totally different perspective on it.
Yes,
So I love
yes,
that too. Yeah.
yes. Yeah,
Yes.
or you can run through the 45 master classes and do that as a 45-day ritual or challenge for yourself.
Yes. Yeah, I will be doing that. So, another question for you, my love. With the release of The
Yes.
Secret Language of Darkness, could you share how shadow work can help us embrace and accept all facets of ourselves? So, I love that, you talked about that integrating the parts, loving all the parts, all the facets of ourselves. So, yes, can you share a bit more about that?
Yes, of course. So for me, shadow work is all the shadow, I should say. And just as a little bit of a background, I mean, shadow work's probably only been around for not even 100 years, the way that we work with it now. So it is still
Yes.
fairly new, and there's still a lot of healing that's going on with the shadow. And of course, we're seeing a lot of it now around the world, meaning that all of the things that need to be balanced are coming to the surface so that we can rebalance and heal them
Yes.
and integrate them, because it's not about letting them go. It's about integrating them. And what I mean
Yes.
by integrating the shadow is allowing, not so much allowing it, but learning from it. And once you learn from something, it then just becomes part of the whole you. And it doesn't run you anymore, but the wisdom, now that you can bring the wisdom out from it, and that becomes part of you. Because if we're constantly trying to get rid of something, those things that we're trying to get rid of will just keep following you around until you embrace them.
Oh,
um,
exactly. If you try to
and
lose something, you're going to
and
your unconscious is going to spend the whole time trying to find it again, right?
yeah, well, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. So I've forgotten the question now. Sorry, I went off on a
That's all
tangent
right.
there.
No, I loved it. Everything you said was so good.
Oh yes, the shadow.
Yes,
So
the
yes,
shadow.
so
And you
oh,
quite, yeah.
maybe I don't want to deal with it today, but but for me, all of those things that we experience from even very young experiences, as a child, all of the things that we experience that we don't know, we don't have the tools to deal with,
Yes.
we don't know what to do with them,
Yes.
we don't understand them. That's what the shadow is. So all of those things that we don't know what to do with, it's like they're held in this receptacle inside of us, which I call the shadow. And often I actually feel like I build a fence around things as well.
Or
It's
don't
like,
we
I'll
all?
just
Yeah.
build a really high
Yes,
fence, and
that's
then I'll
right.
get to that later.
Yes.
And
And we're
for me,
almost
that's
taught
what
to do
shadow
that though,
work
aren't we?
is.
Yeah.
Well, we are. It's like,
Yes.
just get on with it, people will say. And
Get
it's
on
like,
with
well,
it.
that's
Push it
fine.
down.
Yeah, push
Yes.
it
Suck
down and
it
get on
up.
with it. But that's fine if you can deal with it. But if you just
Yes.
shove it down, now it wants to be in balance, because everything within you, everything in the universe always wants to be in
In
balance.
balance.
And for you for anything to fulfill its potential, it needs to be in balance. And so that's why the shadow comes up. That's why anything comes up, to show you where there is something out of balance. Your body does that. When
Yeah.
it's hurting, so it's a little reminder that the shadow isn't anything awful or horrible, and it's not trying to
Exactly.
hurt you. If
Exactly.
anything, it's been holding these things for you. It's created a space within you to hold all the things that you don't know what to do with, until you find the tools all the time to work on this and integrate it, and come to terms with things. If you don't, what happens is, every now and again, when you are
Yes.
still or
Yes.
quiet,
It pops up, right?
it's like it pops up. It's like, oh, we've
It's
got
like,
space. Let's just let her know this. Let's let her know that. And
yes.
of course, it feels like it's rearing its little ugly head.
Yeah.
And often we don't want to deal with it. And obviously I don't. I'm going croaky. It's something I need to deal with. And we push it back down. And we've got many ways that we do that. I have tended to do it with food.
Yes.
But we are creative beings, and we have a multitude of ways that we can
Multitude of
use.
numbing,
Pushed it,
self-sabotaging,
yes, yes, yes,
distracting ways of not dealing with it,
yes.
I love that
So,
so much. And I love that you said it's
yes,
not good or bad, it's not right or wrong. It's that sacred balance, like night, day, winter, summer. I think we had to give it a name, the shadow, and people say shadow work because,
mm,
with the way things have been taught to us, it's like, the shadow is bad. You can't be sad, you can't be
mm,
mad, you've got to be the good little girl or whatever it might be. So I love that
mm.
so much, the way you explained that. Now, I've noticed
Yeah,
that the secret
and
language, sorry, my love. Yeah. You want to add something?
no, that's right. I was just going to say that,
Yeah.
Jung created that term shadow, but
Yeah.
it's
Oh, yes.
just something I want to say to people. When you're
Yeah.
walking down the street and you
Yeah.
see your shadow is always with you.
Yes.
And um,
Oh, what a good way to explain it.
it
It's
is
not like it
always
goes
with you.
anywhere.
Uh, no, and it's a part of you, and it wants to be loved. And so that's what this work is about. For me, that's what this work is about. It's about integrating that and bringing it back in, so that you become things that are hidden. They're yet to have light shone on them, or they're unconscious, but we want to bring them into the conscious or the awareness, and shine light on them, because they are a part of you,
Exactly.
and
I
they
love the
want to
way you
be
explain that.
loved. They want to
Yeah.
be loved just as much as everything else. I don't want people to think that I'm making light of the shadow, because I
Yes.
do realize that it can be very heavy, challenging, and hard work, because they're parts of ourselves that we don't really like, that we
Yes.
don't want to face, that we don't want to look at, or we've gone through very challenging experiences that we
Yes.
don't want to look at or feel again or experience again. But all
Yes.
of this is to free you, is to make
Exactly.
you feel lighter, so that you can
Yes.
start to create the life that you truly want. So
Beautifully
yes.
expressed. Love that. Love that so much. So I've noticed that the secret language of light, which I have this deck and I love this deck. I got this quite some time ago and it's just so wonderful. It works really beautifully with your new deck, the secret language of darkness. Of course it does, the light, the dark. you know, that duality. I feel together they create a really beautiful synergy and sacred balance. Now, I'm asking this question because I want you to elaborate on it, because I'm pretty sure I know the answer, but was this intentional? And if so, what's the best way to work with both decks? Like, how do we bring the decks together to create that beautiful balance? Yeah.
So yes, it was intentional, because obviously we live in duality of light and dark. So I
Yes.
wanted to help people to see both perspectives. And for me, that the lightness deck is more about awakening into new possibilities. And the darkness deck is, well, once you've awoken, what do I need to heal in order to create the life that I really want to create? So
Yes.
that reflection is shadow work for me. I'll often
Yes.
call it reflection work because it sounds a little
I actually
softer.
prefer that.
Mm.
I prefer
Uh,
reflection work, actually.
yes,
Yeah.
because it's like it's time for you to really reflect on what's going on inside of you, and that's that
Yes.
the shadow, so that then you can create, which is my next deck, the secret language of manifestation. You can create
Yes.
the
How
life that
exciting.
you want to create. So, but often people just go straight into I want to create this. I want this and I want that. And of course, the thing that I generally ask people, I don't do readings as such anymore, but when I used to, and people would say, I want this and I want that. When's this coming? When's that coming? And I'd say, well, if you really
Yes.
want that, it will come. You don't need me to tell you that. But what I am going to ask you is, are you going to go about it the same way you've always gone about it? Because if you do, you'll get the same result.
Cause and
And
effect.
and a lot of people didn't like that, which is hence why I don't really do readings anymore. I do more soul coaching, or I do guidance work.
Yes, I think we're
Um,
going down a similar line. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Uh, so so yes, they do work together. So each card is the opposite of the other. So the first card in the secret language of light is soul name, and of course the first card in the secret language of darkness is shadow name.
Shadow name.
And so they all correspond. All they
Oh,
so
how
they're the
clever.
opposites of each
That's
other,
brilliant.
so that you can do the work with them like that. Or in the secret language of darkness, I've actually given you a couple of spreads where you can use both decks.
I did notice that. And I
As
thought, just so comprehensive and so, you know, it's like doing that beautiful kind of mapping and connecting the dots and, you know, really creating balance. And yeah, very powerful, Denise. Yeah.
yes. So, so I hope it's a tool for that people can really use to help them feel empowered. But both of them. I mean, obviously the lightness deck is it's been hugely popular. But I think it also came at a time when lots of people were awake and asking different questions.
Yes. Yeah.
But yes, so the two decks work together, and yes, so which I found a bit
Wonderful. I love
of
that.
fun.
It would have been fun, like, you know, even just creating the decks would have been more like a co-creation. It's almost like the two, you know, halves make the whole, you know, and
Yes,
each half is a
yes.
whole, you know. I love that so much. So,
Yes, yeah. Because
really
I talk
exciting. Yeah.
to the images and ask them. Oh, I'm
Yes, I
sorry.
do that
I was going to
too.
say, because I talk to all the images and ask them where they want to go, what they want me to bring through. Yes. So
I
it's
do
always
that
a
too. I
fun,
love that you do that.
interesting.
Yeah, like the divinities, the art, the symbology, you know,
Mm.
it speaks to you. I love that you shared that. I do that
Yeah.
too. Love that so much. So we've got these three beautiful transformative pillars of your work. We've got the awakening, we've got the reflection, and we've also got the manifestation. And how do these kind of contribute to elevating our vibrational frequency as a collective, I suppose. So, because I feel like those three pillars feel, yeah, I don't know, just like so, they just work so well together. So I'd love your kind of perspective on that.
Well, again, a little bit what I just said before about
Yes.
the awakening, reflection, and manifestation. What I found over the years with a lot of clients and students is people will say, I want to manifest this, I want to manifest that. And it's like, well, you are
Why isn't it here yet?
manifesting in every moment.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. But you are manifesting in every moment of your life. That's how we create. We create through vibration, we create through
Yes.
feeling.
Yes.
Things are not about what is said, it's about the energy that flows from you when you say that.
Yes.
So to get in touch with that, to be a deliberate creator, we
Yes.
need to awaken to a different possibility and then understand what may be holding us back from the things that we want.
I love that
And
so much. That conscious
and
creation. Yeah.
yeah, and why do we want it? Do you
Exactly.
want it just to, so
Yeah.
other
Do you
people will
even
look at
want
it?
it? Do you
Yes.
really want it? Yeah.
Mm. Uh, and so I think for me, it's really important. Otherwise, when I first stepped onto my path and we worked with manifestation, when that word first came up, probably in the, I mean, it's always been in the dictionary, but
Yes.
manifestation as through the art of, I've gone blank, the art of attraction.
Art of attraction. Yeah, it's what it would
Yes,
like, the law of
yes. The
attraction,
law of attraction, art of
manifestation,
attraction.
like
Yeah.
it's got so many names, right? Yeah.
Yes, and it's like this is a technique, and it's like, well, actually, no, it's just a way to explain how we
Exactly.
create
But here's the
our
thing
our
too,
lives.
like, thoughts, feelings, and words become things. So you might
Mm,
want something, but is there an unconscious mantra in your head going, but do I deserve it? Am I
mm,
worthy of it? Right?
mm,
Or there might be, a past hurt that's impacting on it, or some kind of conditioning or programming from childhood or whatever it might be. So, I think the wishing is important, but also this is why reflection is so important, because, you might say you want something, but all day you're going around with this unconscious mantra of, oh, yeah, but that happens for other people. That doesn't happen for me, or,
mm.
whatever
Which,
it
of course,
might
so then
be.
it will.
Exactly. That unconscious kind of,
Mm.
which really
So
is the
that will be
shadow,
your
right?
reality.
So,
You'll
yeah,
see everyone else getting it.
exactly. I love that, without the self-blame or
Well,
the,
yes,
yes, yeah, that's it. Yeah,
yes, yeah,
yeah,
and it's easy to sabotage then. And we don't
yes,
realize we're sabotaging, but we're actually focusing on the negative aspect of, I need more money. I want this. Oh, I don't have it. I don't have it.
yeah,
So, of course, the universe goes, oh, okay, well, that's the energy you're putting out. So we assume you know yourself. And obviously, that's a gross generalization when I talk about the universe, but it's like it just
yeah,
presumes that you know yourself and you
exactly.
know what you want, and it will
Yes,
just give you more of that.
yes,
But of course,
exactly.
we have been taught that there is something outside of us that can punish us or give us things when we're
When we're
good.
good.
So then,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Gosh,
that
that's
so when
profound.
yeah,
Yeah.
so when we go into manifestation work, uh, we'll apply those familiar ideas to it.
Yes.
What do I
Yeah.
need to do to get this? Or, oh, I must have done something wrong because I didn't get it, or I didn't like the way it turned up in my life, or why am I going through this awful experience?
Yes.
So all of that for me is reflecting and doing the shadow work, asking yourself why. And,
Yes. Like the
often
why.
people
Yeah.
will say to, yeah, often people will say to me, I'm aware of this belief, idea, act, whatever it is that they're doing. I'm aware of it, but I keep doing it. Why do I keep
Why do I
doing it?
keep
Why do I?
doing it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Because it's that,
it's
that
and
reframing, isn't it? Like we have to reframe We have to create new neural pathways in the brain. We have to, you know thyself. You know, it's a concept that is incredibly powerful, but it is an ongoing journey. So it's not like, you know, one morning you're going to wake up and you've done the work. It's this ever evolving journey. But it is
And
so powerful to have that self-awareness, you know, isn't it? That
yeah,
conscious
and it's not about the
awareness.
mind,
Yeah. Yes,
because people
true.
will think, oh, you know, what's going on in my head? It's also,
Yes.
yes, that's important, but it goes beyond that. What are you embodying? What are you holding
Oh,
in
I
your
love
body? What
that.
are you holding in the unconscious?
Yes.
And so that when people say to me, you know, I know I'm aware of this thing, but I keep doing it.
Yes.
I'll always say to people, well, you're yet to get to the hanging on to this idea, this belief. You're still acting it out because on some level you believe it's going to keep you safe,
Yes.
or you need to do it for survival. You know, or it's going to bring you love, or whatever. So otherwise you would have integrated it and
Yeah.
moved on. But if you're still acting it out, it's because you
If it's
believe
still
it's still
triggering you,
something.
you know,
Yeah, it's
if
still
it's still
something that
triggering you,
you
yeah. If you're still
believe
acting
you
it
need
out,
to have.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
And
know, I
it's
think
as
it's
simple
about,
as that.
yeah, it's as simple as that. And I love that, you know, living in alignment with that, you know, your core values, your wishes, your dreams, your goals, whatever it might be. You know, you can say something, but I love the way you explained it's not just in the mind, you know, it's an embodiment practice, and it's about conscious alignment to your core, to, you know, what you want to call in, and all that. So that's why I'm so excited that you're also going to be working on the secret language of manifestation. It's in production. So what can we expect from this glorious work, and how does it tie into the journey of manifestation? I think we've probably talked about it anyway, but yeah, so I just love this whole beautiful kind of, like, you know, all of them kind of, it's almost like a trilogy, or a although you're going to have more than three, aren't you? I think there's
Well, it
the,
is.
and there's the secret
That
language of
was the idea.
emotions as well. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. I mean, that format will be slightly different because
Okay.
the three other decks are the actual pillar of my work. The name of it may change. I don't know, depending. We'll see what happens. The secret language of emotions, of course, is to help us understand what emotions are for and how we can work with them. But the secret language of manifestation, wow, that took me on a journey, because that took me through a journey of
Yeah.
nine dimensions,
Oh, wow.
and which I originally wrote about in the deck. I softened them because my editor was like, where are we going?
Where are we going?
Where are we going with this?
I
It's like,
probably would have come on that
it's,
odyssey with you.
well,
But
yes, yeah.
anyway,
Well, I
yeah,
mean,
it's got
the
to
journey
be
was lovely,
relatable. Yeah.
but it was probably just a little bit too out there.
Yes.
But that I'm doing a course for each of the decks, and that will be a part of
I
the
was going to ask
course.
you about that, because I think they'd make
Yeah.
wonderful programs, courses.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I
Yes. So
love that.
I've just been on a bit of a hiatus for the last 4 years, going
Oh, haven't
through
we all? Yeah.
uh, everything, and with the end of my second marriage and going through
Oh,
menopause,
yes. Yeah.
and it was like, okay, what's happening in my life now? But I'm stepping into the wise woman, I think, and letting go of the mother energy. Even though I don't have children, I feel that I've been very
A
much a
mother to
mother
many.
to
Yeah.
Leslie,
Yes. Because you're
and
that natural
mm,
nurturer. And I can
and
imagine you'd be
which
a mother to
has,
many. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, which embodied the idea from my mother, which I spoke earlier, that I was there to make her feel better. And so
Right. Yeah.
That isn't necessarily what I would call a really positive aspect for the mother, because
No.
you end up putting
Well, you
yourself
were the mother.
last.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but that's how the mother energy throughout my most of my years filtered through into my life. So I put others first before myself. So now I've stepped into the wise woman energy,
Yes.
and and integrated that, and are now realizing that I don't need to be that. And so that was part of the shadow work
Yes.
as well. And I'm
I
sorry,
love
I've
that
digressed again.
transition. No, I love that transition, that rite of passage from the mother to the wise woman. And you're quite right. I love the energy of the wise woman, where she realizes that she doesn't have to be that for everyone. It's amazing. Yeah,
Mm.
I've kind of gone through something. I've had those shifts myself. So, yeah. So the secret language of emotions.
Yes.
Emotions are so powerful. That's going to be fun.
Oh, yes.
Fun. I was to say
Yes,
fun.
yes.
We
So
often
sorry,
do
I
the
was
work
just
when we
talking about the
create it.
secret
Yeah.
language of manifestation. So
Yes.
yes, yes. So the
Yes.
secret language of manifestation is there are ways in there, obviously, to help you with creating your life. But what I've wanted to do was pull the whole concept apart
Yeah.
and talk about the different elements from my point of view, and also give you um, deeper work, so meditations and journal work, to understand the different concepts of what we believe to be manifestation work. So I sort of felt like, this is an odd analogy, but when I look at Picasso's guitar painting,
Yes.
and people might want to look at it later, what he actually did is he took the image of the guitar can't even say it,
The
and
guitar.
then
Yeah.
he pulled all of the elements apart,
Yes.
and then he put them back together in the image in a different way. And
Oh,
for
is that what
me,
he did?
that's
Yeah.
and that's what surrealism is. Well, that's what his work was about
Yes, of
mainly.
course.
It was
Yeah.
about, we take an image, we take a concept of something, you pull it apart, you've got
Yes.
all the parts just there, and then he puts them back together in a different order. So it
Yes.
might seem discordant,
It's a
it might
great
not be
analogy.
harmonious, but what it's helping you to do is to see all the different parts and from a different perspective. Because for me, that's what dimensions are. That's what
Yes.
deeper work is. Everything
Yes.
is for us to see things from a different perspective, because everyone has something beautiful to offer this
Yes.
life. We're all a
Yes.
jigsaw of the big puzzle,
Yes.
a big puzzle piece of the big jigsaw. um,
Yes. Yeah.
got it back to front.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you didn't. It's good.
And we all need to honor that in order for us all to come together and help each other, and for you to find
Yes.
your potential. But of course, all the time we're working in this paradigm, or this concept of, I need to be this, I need to get a job, I need to survive,
Yes.
all
I'll
the
be
ways
happy
that we've been
when
taught
I'll be
to
happy when I'm in
live.
the relationship, when I've got the
Yeah.
home, when I've got the dream home, when I've got, the promotion. I'll be happy then.
Mm.
But of course, it was never
Yes.
about any of that. Right.
No, and of course that's always in the future as well.
That's
So
it.
sometimes
I
people
mean,
get to
they're,
the
they're
end
all
of their
wonderful things,
days.
don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, of course. They're
Yeah.
wonderful. And that's the thing, is for us to have fun with all of the
Yes.
things that we create, whether it be good or bad. But if we're saying I'll be happy when, it's always going to
Yes.
be in the future. And you're going to
Exactly.
get to the end of your days
Yeah.
and think, oh, maybe one day, maybe
Yeah.
one day I'll
I
get the
call it the
things that I
beautiful
want.
mess.
And then,
Life's a beautiful mess, isn't it? And I love the way you
well,
explain,
yes.
yeah, like it's almost like the crumbling of the tower, you know, of the tower, the tower has to
Of tower.
crumble. The tower has to
Mm.
crumble so that you can rebuild it, rebuild a beautiful new tower.
On,
You're not putting a dodgy extension
yes.
on the tower, it's that even the shamans, a lot of shamanic work is in around the breaking it open, pulling it apart, and then and then putting it back together in a different way. I keep knocking the box around, your beautiful box. There, there it is. It wants to play.
That'll sound
Wants to
nice
play with
on
us.
the
Yeah.
audio.
Wants to play with us. Yeah.
Yes.
Beautiful. This has been such a great chat. I love chatting to you. So, how can the listeners of Ask the Oracle find you? I've got your beautiful kind of links, and we'll put those in the show notes as well. Oh, I know what we were going to do. We were going to pull a card, weren't we? I can pull a card
Yes.
from the
So we'll
secret
do a quick
language of
little reading for
darkness.
ourselves and for everyone.
That's it.
Yes.
And I get to
We'll
unveil
do
your
a quick
gorgeous
little
deck.
reading.
Yeah. So, so what we'll do to finish off our podcast today is I'm going to pull a card from the secret language of darkness, Denise's beautiful new deck, and Denise is going to pull a card from the secret language of light. And let's see what we get for the collective.
And for ourselves.
And for ourselves. We're all connected, right?
Okay.
So I got 23 triggers, intense emotional catalyst. So the trigger is like an awakening, isn't it? It's more of an awakening. It's an opportunity to, delve deep into the shadow and look for that deeper meaning in the trigger so that you can transmute it, heal it, transform it, so that it's not impacting on your happiness, on your life. It's really beautiful. I love the triggers. To me, they're like, they can be like glimmers as well. So intense emotional catalyst. So that's what I got, Denise. What did you get, my love?
Yes. So I got light beings. So if we're going to use the deck together, whenever, just for this little reading here from my concept, so whenever something triggers me, and this can be when you have your buttons pushed, when when you're triggered in general, people want to protect themselves from triggers, but your trigger or your button pushing moment is feedback from the outside world to tell you where you're holding yourself away from love. So what's the imbalance that is going on inside of you? Because we don't want to avoid things in life.
That's right.
So many people avoid situations, avoid going to places because they're triggered. And again, I'm not saying this is not a light talk about
we're not making
triggers.
it light and fluffy. It can be quite challenging.
But I want to give people a different perception about it. That actually it's your body, it's it's like that mirror principle.
Yes.
It's a feedback system to help you understand where you're holding yourself away from, well, as I said, love before, but where you're holding yourself away from your potential, from being who you are. And actually, when I talk about love to me is an unconditional space where everything is allowed.
Wow.
It's not a gooey emotion that makes us feel good, even though that is an aspect of love as well. But when I talk about
one
love
aspect of it,
from a spiritual point of view, I'm talking about a space where, an unconditional space where everything can be there. And there's no judgment about anything. So whenever you feel like you're being triggered, go to your higher self and ask yourself because that's the light beings card. And to be able to open yourself up for higher information to flow to you from your light beings, which is the higher aspect of you. How perfect is
that?
So it is something that the collective can do, that we can do. A little reminder for me that when something difficult is happening, if I'm having my buttons pushed, it's like, right, Denise, ask your shadow name or ask your soul name.
Shadow name, clever.
Go in and ask.
Ask your higher self.
What
ask
is
your
being
spirit
triggered?
Guide. Ask that
what
aspect
is happening
of yourself. I
and
love
to
that
get
so
that,
much.
To get that worldly and cosmic view, which is, to me, it's what I want to help people to do with their shadow work as well.
Yes.
So that's how you can use the two decks
The two
together.
decks together.
Mm.
I
And
love it.
also
The
your
trigger.
light
Yeah.
beings,
Yeah.
may
Yes.
gently put you into, well, it's not that they'll put you into situations, because this is about our
Well,
intuition,
life lessons.
but yeah, but
Yeah.
they'll help you to unravel the things that may be holding you back. So,
Yes.
so it can go the other way. They're
Yes.
helping to trigger things, but it's not about blame. It's about love,
Yes.
because the things that trigger us are holding us away from who
They're
we
unpacking
truly are.
those things that are holding
Mm.
us back from, you know, love and happiness and peace and harmony and all of that. I love that so much.
Yes.
I love the way you
Because
explained the loving of self. So, you know, the reflection work is so that you can truly love and have compassion for self. You know, it's just so beautiful the way you explained that.
Because we can't really have love and compassion for anyone else if we don't have it
Yes,
for ourselves.
exactly.
Because what you're actually doing is saying, I want to see something better in the outside world that makes me feel better. But that's ego feeling better. That's not about
It's
healing.
superficial. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And it's very much what my mother wanted from me. Make me feel better, she'd say.
Yes, that's, oh, wow, really, yeah.
And even when I did Reiki,
Challenging.
I'm a massage therapist, and she would never let me massage her. And just a funny little thing, that when I was actually learning to be a remedial therapist, my mother thought I was learning to be a prostitute. So there's nothing wrong with people if they want to be sex workers. That's fine.
Right.
But,
you know,
it's like
sacred sexuality, you know, or sex work.
So I wasn't sure whether to
Yeah.
yell at her or
Yes.
embrace her, because it's like
I
she just went
know.
along with it, like, oh yeah, whatever. Oh, is that what you're doing now? No, not really, Mum. But then I had a couple of girlfriends whose mothers thought the same thing. So it's obviously a generational thing.
It's a generational thing.
And I was learning to be
My
a
mother said
massage.
something similar. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I was learning to be a massage therapist a good 20 years ago. So it's obviously very different the way that we perceive it now.
Yes. My parents often thought I was joining a cult. So I think, yeah, it's like.
My mother used to tell me that I would have a breakdown
anyway,
because I thought too deeply. Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
That's so much. That is so great. So I can see how both decks work together so beautifully, and they're just such a beautiful balance. And, you know, the trigger really is an opportunity to love and to integrate that. That's just so beautiful. I love that. So thank you so much. I really enjoyed our podcast today. I'm hoping to get you back on at some point again down the track, because I just
that's exciting.
Really resonate with everything you do. It's just I love, as I said, I love the depth and the, you know, just, yeah, it's just wonderful, my love. So thank you so much for agreeing to be on my podcast today.
Oh, and it's my pleasure. Thank you so much for creating a space where we can have these conversations, because it's wonderful, because I resonate so much with your work as well, and it's truly wonderful.